to us all. May the supplication of every sincere heart be heard. Ramadan Kareem.
اللهم متعنا بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم.
Of sharing and caring.
اللهم متعنا بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم.
It's Ramadan. It's the season of sharing and caring. As Muslim faithfuls all over the world pray and fast, may peace be over, especially in troubled regions. Allah's blessing to us all. May the supplication of every sincere heart be heard. Ramadan Kareem.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making process. Engage in one-hour program that brings discourse into focus.
I am Chupuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The people, ordinary citizens, take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect. In mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debate, and the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. People's Voice, Mondays through Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP. Key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more.
Join me on Sundays every 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People TV.
Exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help from the views on the street.
We go to bed empty hunger.
To the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man. To
Administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st media. A new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things and makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People. Truly a voice for the people. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into our daily lives, highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving.
Now, good evening and welcome to Political Lens on Voice of the People Television. I am Chukuma Okoro, and in the next 1 hour, 45 minutes or so, we'll be looking at the Southeast Development Commission, SEDC, and the impact it is supposed to make on the decade-long decay in infrastructure and human capital development in the Southeast. Well, I am joined by Engineer Fimba Ajegu, who is the chairman, Nigerian Institute of Safety Engineers, NISFT, Anambra State Chapter. He is also a member, Monitoring and Evaluation Committee of the Anambra State Anti-Corruption Strategy, and SACS. Good evening, Engineer Fimba Ajegu, and welcome to Political Lens. Good to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Okay, very well then. How is Oka? How is Anambra State?
Well, Anambra presently is bubbling, and a lot of activities are ongoing, businesses and all that. Of course, infrastructure, massive construction work. In fact, it's a construction hub currently. The roads have been fixed. Okay,
that's what we hear anytime we ask people in Anambra State what's going on. They say it's a massive construction site. Anyway, I hope to be there one of these days to witness what is actually happening.
Please do.
All right.
Hope to receive.
Okay, now let's kick into the show. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in June 2024 signed the Southeast Development Commission SEDC bill into law alongside the Northwest Development Commission bill, which with a clear mandate to develop both regions. Now, sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, the SEDC is supposed to foster the development of the 5 Southeast states of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo in terms of infrastructure and human capital. While following the assent, the President approved a board comprising chairman and members to oversee the operations of the commission, with Barrister Emeka Nwogu from Abia State as the pioneer chairman of the board. Well, last week, the House of Representatives Committee on SEDC approved a budget of 250 billion naira as take-off grant for the commission and pledged that it will carry out strict oversight functions to ensure that the money is used efficiently to deliver on the mandate of the commission. And in response to that approval, the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB warned of dire consequences should money be frittered. Now, Engineer Ifewu, let me ask you. Let's examine the impact the SEDC, which was established by the government of President Bola Tinubu in 2024, will have on the economy and infrastructure of the Southeast. I want you to factor that. Look, the Southeast has been crying about marginalization and all of that with regard to infrastructure, a sense of belonging in the commanding heights of Nigeria's national life. How do you think that, how much impact do you think that the SEDC will make in trying to address all the cries about marginalization that has come from the Southeast in the past 54 years or more?
I appreciate Mr. President for bringing this at this time. There could be no other better time than having the Southeast Development Commission currently, having gone through so much trauma and so much challenges over the years. The Southeast have felt relegated, however, not totally though, because a lot of other activities have been ongoing. Direct to what you just asked, the impact is enormous because it's going to be affecting so many other things. One, the economy, which is going to be converting a lot of other employment. It's going to be creating employment. The South Development Commission is going to be creating employment. It's going to be bringing in innovation, technology, and many other things as such. It's going to also create manufacturing opportunities. And at the same time, you're going to have intellectual capacity that will be transmitted across board, the Southeast states and then beyond, and the entire country. Currently, like you said, the budget has been approved for the commission is about 250 billion. I think that's a good start. And having the kind of pioneer chairman, Chief Mwogu, Emeka Mwogu, as the chairman of the board, and then a vibrant young man, Mr. Mark Okoye, whom, of course, they are very exceptional in implementing fantastic, activities. I think they are very good a team in that commission, and then all other members who make up that commission. The impact is not just going to be small, because already the Southeast states have a lot going on in terms of transportation infrastructure, in terms of material minerals, which they have, natural minerals, in terms of personnel, of course, in terms of as well education, because across board you're going to see that academically the Southeast is competitive, very competitive in education. And also you're going to be seeing some fantastic kind of structures which will be coming up, because I currently understand there's a synergy in connecting the entire Southeast states. I also understand that there are already MOUs which have been signed, and at the same time, they are encouraged, the commission is encouraged to think out something very unique. If it's just one, they can achieve for the period which they are starting up. And I think with the persons we have, the team, and the cooperation which the governors are giving them, they're going to achieve a lot. Okay,
Engineer, you have said quite a lot, but when you said that there's already a lot happening in the Southeast in terms of transportation infrastructure, since Muhammad Buhari domesticated, more like removed the railway, from the exclusive legislative list and brought it to the concurrent, we haven't seen any of the Southeast states talk about building rail lines from one end of the state to the other. So when you say that a lot is happening in terms of transport infrastructure, can you be more precise, yes, about what you mean?
Precisely, many years ago, the rail lines have been moribund due to the activities of the political era at that time. Right now, they're reviving it. There are a lot of discussions going in that direction.
Sorry, Engineer. Are they reviving it, or there are discussions? Is it at the state level or at the federal level?
The discussions, first of all, has to be from the state level.
Okay.
And then the synergy has to be agreed, such that when it comes up to the federal level, there has to be a good understanding, because you do your homework first before you bring it out to the federal level. And in addition to the transportation infrastructure, many of the states already are also expanding their roads, dualizing the roads, making them accessible, making the hinterlands accessible, urban areas connecting the rural areas. And then with the coming of the rail lines, I think large quantity of goods can be transported with ease, and it will decongest the stress on the road infrastructure, which is ongoing. And at the same time, airports, like Anambra State has just recently completed its own airport about three years ago. and the airport is functioning. And then with due time, it's going to be put in full operation, because right now I think currently we have few activities ongoing there, but there are planes coming in. But very soon, with that on the ground, many more national flights will be coming in. Enugu and the other states also have. Ebonyi is also working on this. So we did airport infrastructure, the air transportation coming in, the rail line transport, the road transport. I think also in addition to the sea, the seaports, I think also it's going to be a big opportunity if the federal government can support that aspect of seaport, so that the Southeast Development Commission will further expand, and then the economy of the Southeast will be boomed, and then the federal government at the same time have a lot to benefit.
Okay, Engineer Finba, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but talking about airports, how viable are the airports in the Southeast? I mean, Ebonyi State has an airport in Abakaliki or somewhere around that area. Since it was finished and commissioned, we don't see any sort of commercial flight going into all of that place. And Abia State is even planning to build one too. Meanwhile, you have airports by somewhere in Enugu, you have one in Owerri that is close by. Shouldn't the governments have devoted this fund, into doing more important things that could actually bring about economic development faster than just dumping all of that money in terms of building an airport, which is, anyway, not functional as it is?
Yes. You see, one good thing about having an airport is that it saves you a lot of time. For instance, if you want to move in between Abuja and Imo State, you can go straight directly to Imo State because they have an airport, and you save a lot of time. If you want to move into Anambra State, you go directly from Abuja or Lagos directly to Anambra State because that is its own airport. But if, for instance, you don't have an airport, and then you have to transport, you have to stop at one state, and then by the time you transit to the other state, it takes an hour, 30 or 2 hours or more. So that saves you a lot of time with the airports that are on ground. It does not mean that currently the activities are at maximum. The activities are going to take some time because a lot of businesses are undergoing the pupillage stage. There are a lot of businesses undergoing the development stage. A lot of businesses are also at the same time needs a project. Such is a big project such that it needs planning and it needs other things that will follow suit after you plan. Because generally the airport you cannot say is right now is at its best. I believe with due time and the population increasing in the states, activities will come up, and then it gives people opportunities to go directly to the states and do business.
Okay, I guess more like some of these investments are futuristic, future-oriented. Now, let's come back to the issue of SEDC. Now, how much recompense do you think that SEDC can make to the Igbo nation coming 54 years after the war that devastated the region, and especially the abandonment of the 3 R's of reintegration, you remember, rehabilitation and reconstruction of the war-torn Igbo land? Now, consider that the zone has been in rapid decay over the years in road, air, we've talked about air, rail, and even water infrastructure. How soon do you think that the people of the Southeast can begin to feel the impact of the commission? I know you don't work for SCDC, but you are an analyst, and so you understand some of these things and what is going on in the Southeast. We just want to, to have a conversation about the expectations, the possibilities that SEDC is going to maybe wipe out the tears, of the past years. That's what we are looking at exactly. Yes. How much recompense do you think they can make?
Yes, I think the job is an easy one because, first of all, the personnel that are manning that commission are very exceptional persons. And they have a very good pedigree and they know how to make things happen. My own thought in how soon things can happen is it's not going to be very immediately because, first of all, they have to have basic laws that will help activities that has to do with contracting, and then at the same time make sure that contracts are transparent as much as possible, competitive, and then at the same time have the best hands on various projects or activities that are going on. I know certainly with the optimism, I'm very optimistic with the passion which the 5 Southeast governors are having on the inauguration of that commission. I know very certainly that they are willing to put in all their best. The governor of Anambra State, he has shown that they have all this 100% of his support. Of course, the other state governors, Enugu State, Abia State, Ebonyi State, and Imo State, They also equally have shown that they are giving in their full support on this project of the Southeast Development Commission, because over the years, the Southeast has seemed to have not really been encouraged or have not really been empowered. But this is another opportunity for the persons who are now manning it to see that they give best to Southeast and in general to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, I like the fact that you talked about the passion of the Southeast governors. You know, they are clearly enthused about the SEDC. Do you think it is altruistic, given that for all this period, for all these years, the Southeast governors have never agreed on one thing? Why was it difficult for them to form a regional economic commission and develop the Southeast, like you have in the Southwest? At a point, Southwest governments, all of them had Ministry of Regional Integration, and they were all agreed. They had the Odua investment and all of that, but that was lacking and is still lacking in the Southeast. In terms of security, the Southwest, the governors were able to walk around a security outfit called Amotekun, and it is serving them very well. The moment Southeast formed the Bubago, one governor walked out, another one walked out. Now Charles Soludo, Chukuma Soludo has his own Agone Chamber. Hope Uzodinma has his own. And Enugu has forest gas and all of that. Why is that passion now? Don't you think that, look, they have seen this place as another SPV, special purpose vehicle, you know, to free time money? Because we are going to get into all of that in the course of this discussion. Why that passion at this moment?
Yes, you know, what brings passion at certain points in time in a process is the kind of opportunities that is made available and the laws that also that have been put forward. If you recall, recently a number of activities have been given to the states, like the states now have an opportunity to invest in power generation. The states also have an opportunity at a certain level to also invest on their the resources which they have. At the same time, each state can generate revenues, so they see that opportunities have been made available to them, unlike before. So this is one factor that has given them that passion currently. And at the same time, if you look at the governors currently, they are very good brains. Yes, they are very good brains, I must say. The governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, the governor of Enugu State, the governor of Ebonyi, and then Imo, they are very good brains. However, they might have some differences in political affiliations, but they know that what they find more common is what binds them and is the strength. And so as Southeast states, they know that their strength is to synergize at this point in time and put all forms of political lineages to the background, and then they make the states, the region, and the people, because we're also very industrious people. And if you recall, some of the governors have been marketing that slogan, Akulono, Akulono. And a lot of other people who are outside the country, the shores of our great country, they are doing so well. So they are also looking towards embracing that slogan, Akulono, to bring home their investment, bring home all their, as much as they have been able to work outside, and can invest it down in the Southeast, because we know we have best brains outside. And when they bring them down here, they're going to add great value to this place. So this is
all right. Okay. All right. Engineer, a lot of people also have chimed in on this issue. And I think that the governors are clearly passionate about this whole thing because of the money that is coming into it. Because if you talked about power generation, it's again more than 2 years that Muhammad Buhari said, look, states can also generate their own power. And in all of this, for the past 2 years, no state in the Southeast has made any effort to generate its own electricity. And the president clearly said that since fuel subsidy was removed, that the government, state governments and local governments are getting 3 times more than they used to get. And we have not seen anything come out of it. Is it railway? No. If you can't build railway, why don't you partner with foreigners who can actually, like a PPP, you know, they install the thing, collect their revenue, make return on investment, and walk away, even if it's 30, 40 years. But we don't see any of those things happen. All of a sudden, a certain 250 billion naira is earmarked for SEDC, and everybody is happy about it. Meanwhile, IPOB, you know, has, okay, do you even think that the 250 billion naira approved, you know, it will go anywhere, considering the inflationary rate at the high cost of construction materials at this period. If you have a kilometer of road, you know, constructed in parts of the southeast for 5-6 billion naira a kilometer, I mean, how far can 250 billion naira go?
Yes. First of all, I beg to differ with what you have said. I totally differ with that. That the Southeast governors, you know, are not putting in as much as they are this time. If you look very closely, the statistics of activities, especially in the areas of investing in power, power is not just something you wake up and you want to invest into. You must do a lot of feasibility study, and you do environmental impact assessment. And when you do all sorts of things, such things, you don't do them under a day or a month, just a month, and then you walk away and start getting your projects on ground. No, you need to do a lot more, and then get the personnel that will be able to do that. Very good companies. Anambra State is doing a lot, like I know very much, in power generation. And then there are laws, of course, power laws that are in process, and very soon it comes to fruition and such that it begin to be functional. And then people can come in and then have their own generate power at various clusters across the state. I believe Enugu State too, which have the natural resources, the coal. They have coal, and they've also been mining it at great quantities over the years. So they're also looking at making energy out of that. And of course, wind energy and the other hydro energies, which will have various the solar, which is everywhere. All of them are already keen into solar because solar is as accessible and is very cheap and is renewable. So generation. Going into the security which you mentioned, each state is peculiar with its own security activities, even in the southeast, the north, south, southwest, even across outside the shores of our great country. Every country and state have their peculiar challenges on security. I believe with the indigenous securities or with local securities, which each of the states are, sponsoring and encouraging and paying, they will continue to do great activities in securing the communities and the state. So for security, I think they are doing great work. They might not have all of them cutting across or doing it the same way, but they are going to have certainly cross-border understandings because at boundaries, you're bound to have this kind of a security crossing the shores of each of the states. So once there is a synergy, they can address and arrest any kind of insecurity activities. Coming to 250 billion, which you mentioned, it's a start. It's not the end of it all. It's good you start with 250. If the roads are at 5 billion, for example, for a kilometer of road, with the cost of things, they can at the same time improve on that, even if not for the period which the commission is going to last. They can go beyond just that. And then after their own term, the next set of team that is coming in the commission will continue from there. But I believe that this set of members of the commission, understanding clearly that Mr. President has given them an opportunity to do something great for the Southeast, they will do their best. And then Mr. President is always ready to support them. So they will have access to more funds as long as the House can appropriate, the House of Assembly can appropriate for them.
Okay, very well then. I think this conversation is getting very interesting, but I can't recall saying that the governors weren't doing anything. I was very particular about power generation, and unfortunately, you were not able to convince me that any of the states in the Southeast is doing something about building a power plant, not about installing solar street lights and all of that. And I mean, sorry, engineer, this administration will clock 2 years. We'll clock 2 years in May. And maybe there are plans, but it's not out there in the public. That's exactly my concern.
Yes, you see, very frankly, you are there. You probably may not know so much that's going on ground. Like I mentioned earlier, before you do power projects, you have to carry out feasibility studies. You have to have environmental impact assessment, EIA. It's not something you do under 1 year. A good number of things has to be looked into. A number of houses at the same time, maybe at a right of way of access to energy. If it's gas you're using, a number of houses has to go. And if you're going to solar, you have to have a solar farm and get can build and build energy too. These are the things that they are really looking into. Frankly, understand how projects of such magnitude energy that generate power is. you will know certainly that it takes a lot of assessment and it takes a lot of inspection.
Okay.
And then at the same time, you have to go through the best countries and give that will stand the test of time.
Okay, I'm happy that I'm talking to an engineer. So, in specific terms, how long do you think it should take for a feasibility study to be conducted? On the average, how long?
For large-scale power generation plants, need as much as nothing less than 12 months to have a very comprehensive assessment and environmental impact assessment.
Okay.
Then if you want something that's going to be small, at small catchment cluster levels, you can take nothing much, 6 months to get your team on ground. They access the residents, access the community, and to the community any kind of hazards which they are going to be giving out to the community, or radioactive energies that will be having an effect on energy on the community and the people around. So these are a lot of other things, which are some of the things you have to help a number of persons staying closer to where you want to site your project. You may have to relocate them, and at the same time make funds available for that. So it's a number of considerations. So between 6 to 12 months, you can really have a very good impact assessment from different teams. Because you don't have one person to do the assessment. You can have 1, 2, or 3, and then they give you the best.
All right. Basically, from your assessment now, none of the South, because this administration, the 5 of them will be 2 years in 2 months, and that will be 24 months, and we don't hear anything about any plans for power generation and all of that. Anyway, let's move away from that and get into security. You talked about the peculiarities, of security in all the states. Is it peculiar to the Southeast? Or the South were able to form a moteku? I want us to walk around the issue of why the Southeast governors are not able to agree on one thing. Economy, security, whatever. Why is it difficult? Can you hazard a guess?
I think you're not right. I beg to be different at this states, specifically. We're very unique, we're very industrious, we're enterprising, and you know that myself, yourself, and myself. I can tell you that a number of times you have been able to travel across the Southeast states. I've seen the uniqueness of each of the states. For instance, Anambra State is a business hub, very massive. A lot of exchange is ongoing there. Even Abia State, you have in Aba, which also a lot of manufacturing activities and all of that going on there. States, the natural materials which they have, and then in Imo State, of course, the oil and Anambra State also gas. Many of these activities, they are already ongoing. You have to come down and then perhaps take a tour of this state, because recently the governor himself of Anambra State, that which I know, where I am right now, from Oka, the governor himself in Anambra State, he's doing a lot on in terms of putting the infrastructures in place, so much more.
Okay.
And then recreational areas where people after working can have rest, At the same time, in Enugu State, I know he's working so much on agriculture, and then that area is where you can have abundant food for people in the state and in the region and in the country at large. Also in Imo State, they are also doing gas. I may not know the full details yet, but I understand Imo State is making a lot of effort. And then Ebonyi State, of course, the governor there too, is also doing his own part. So sincerely, if you say they are not doing anything,
No, sorry, engineer. I never said they are not doing anything. What I'm just saying is that the people now, Southeasterners are clearly not what has been complaining. We are looking at 250 billion naira. Can you put together the amount of money that the five southeastern states have received in the 5? Do you think that we have anything to show for it? We keep looking at the federal government. How about the state governments? What have they done in the past 25 years?
Yes, like I said, with reference to the Southeast Development Commission, the fund that has been available to them, I think it's a good start. It's a very good start, because you can
standard. Is there any hope that the SEDC will have the assault associated with such government agencies by the operatives? We hear people give out agencies by the operatives. We hear people give out contracts to themselves. Look at when Akpabio was NDDC chairman or minister, openly, you were the ones that collected contracts and you didn't deliver on those contracts. Now, if you factor in all of that, do you let it to go and work there, and at the end of the day, it will become a circus show like we have seen in the NDDC? Does anything tell you that we are going to, that the Southeast people are going to walk away from that direction?
Yes, when you talk about NDDC, I think NDDC has been functioning for that. They need to rejig their structure. Their structure may have been outdated, such that excuse me, it doesn't dated such that excuse me, it doesn't give much maximum results like it used to give. So I think when you rejig and Development Commission is just a new commission, and the captains of the commission, the chairman and the MDCU, and a very, very good team, and with the passion which they have put before. I think they have so much to the states, be part of NDDC. They don't just walk away from that would enable them to still be part of NDDC. At the state, I understand, is also part of NDDC, and then Rivers and Bayelsa and Delta State. So, commission, and they have a lot more to still continue to benefit. So, but if NDC has to be fully functional and much better, I think it needs rejigging so that the commission can be better functional.
Okay. If that money is
members that make up the good thinking Southeast individual who want to say Southeast Development Commission, you start giving at the same time, give them some opportunity. It's just a commission that has been set up. We must be positive about it, and we must give cooperation. I'm not sure IPOB want to say, oh, if they don't do what they expected in the Southeast, they will have to, some have something to, they may have to come to them. But I think IPOB is just one area which a pressure group which we want to make the states. So,
all right, then. Thanks very much. Now let's talk a bit about the politics of the SEDC. Do you see any intentionality on the part of the president, to develop the Southeast? Or is he just playing politics and other government agencies that existed before now? Recall that he had said when he came to Enugu during the 2023 election campaigns that the South about clearly
it's not a bad idea if Mr. President has his personal aspirations and he's trying to pacify the Southeast region by giving them the Southeast Development Commission political tone, because most of these things that has to do with activities that will promote and generate improve economy, something that is very good, which the president will like to embrace. The commission is coming to a time that and then Mr. strategy, fine, it's a welcome one, and I think for it to come available to the commission, it's very states and members of the state Mr. President for this gesture.
Now let's dig deeper into the president's that we are moving appointment. I mean, the highest ranking Igbo person in this government is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, and he happens to be the number 6 in order.
Mr. President has a prerogative, like I said, to have officers which will work better with him. For him to have Carlos, that if the president is from Southwest, the vice at the same time from the Northeast, and then you have and then all other members from different regions of the country. I think we have had our own share at some point in time of from the Southeast and all that. I know that key offices like ministers and all that, they have personnel too, which they have gotten, Southeast have gotten a fair share. Why for that, that we're heading in that direction. And at the same time, we're very optimistic that the South to benefits and dividends to give. And
Engineer Fimba, can you recall the last time an Igbo man was vice president in this country?
Yeah, the fair share in the Senate president, back to back at some point in time. We have a Kadibo at some point.
Okay, I think we are essentially talking. The question was in terms of order of presidents. I mean, the president is from the northeast. From the northeast, yes. Now the Senate president is from the south. The speaker is from the north. The deputy of this country is given number 6, and you are commending the president. Oh
yes, I am commending that in politics, strategy which, when you have the president from one region, has another area looked into, and then they thought, okay, if we have, it still plays out very fine. By core, the other regions have had their own share, president and vice. But what you talk about is that the captain of the ship to be from the southeast. I'm talking about the presidency. We've not.
And the south, it's at the same time. I was actually talking about this administration. How fair to the south. We are questioning home now. We are running out of time. Let's get into another thing. The federal government, or the Nigerian woes in terms of lack of infrastructure and lack of one that Southeast as the
is the fastest developing region. It has always been. If you recall, over the years after the war, we suffered. The Southeast region has suffered a lot since after the war. Okay. And you know how we bounce back. So frankly, as a matter of fact, at this point in time, I don't know how you're going to assess them. But frankly, the governors of each of the states, I think that the best thing we have at this time, infrastructure improve, and all other things that will be beneficial to the citizens and the country at large. They just improve on them, pay more attention, and make sure that there's value for money. And I think the Southeast states are very, very much good to go with the captains on each of the states right now. They have a lot more to do. And the chairman and the MD currently at Southeast.
All right. In your concluding thought, engineer, what do you think building the region after several years of negligence? Like you can in 1 minute.
Yes, in 1 minute, I will want to advise that they shun any activities that will bring the MD that activities that are going on in the commission should be properly.
Fimba. Now this is where we end the show this evening, and we'll be speaking with Engineer Fimba Atewu, who is the state chairman of strategy, and he's a member of the monitoring and evaluation committee of the Anambra State chapter. Engineer, thanks for coming to Political Lens. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now this is where we end the show this evening, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.